Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows comes the best of indie podcasts. This mythological creature typically used to frighten children into good behavior. They have no specific appearance, and their concepts vary drastically by household and culture, but they're most commonly depicted as masculine and androgynous monsters that punish children for misbehavior. Conceptually similar monsters can be found in many cultures around the world. Today, we go beyond the myth into the Boogeyman. My name is DJ, and this is the Mythical True Crime Podcast. Boogeymen may target a specific act or general misbehavior, depending on the purpose of invoking the figure, often on the basis of as a warning from those as an authority figure to children. The term is also sometimes used as a non-specific personification of that of terror or sometimes the devil. The word boogeyman is used to describe a monster in English, may have derived from the Middle English word buggy or bog, which means frightening specter, terror, or even scarecrow. It relates to a boggart, bugbear, a bug meaning goblin or scarecrow or a bear, an imaginary demon of sorts in the form of a bear that ate small children. It is also used to mean a general object of dread. The word bugaboo is a similar pair of meanings, may have arisen as an alteration of bugbear. Boogeyman itself is known from the 15th century, though boogeyman stories are more likely much older. The word has equivalents in many European languages, from the Scots to Cornish, even Old Nordish. As for physical descriptions, they vary widely. It's often described, though, as a dark, formless creature with shape-shifting abilities. The boogeyman is known as having a satiate appetite for snatching and consuming children. Depictions of the boogeyman vary across cultures, yet there are often commonalities between them, including claws or talons and sharp teeth. The nature of such a creature also varies from culture to culture, although most examples said to be a kind of spirit, with demons, witches, and other legendary creatures, much less common variants. Some are described as having animal features, such as horns, hooves, or even have a bug-like appearance. Now, because of the myth's global prevalence, it's difficult to find an original source of the legends. In my research, the most I could find is that the boogeyman was first referenced for the hobgoblins described in the 16th century England. Many believed that they were made to torment humans, and while only some played simple pranks, others were much more foul in nature. Boogeyman and boogeyman-like beings are common to folklore of many cultures, with numerous variations and equivalents. Multiples, including the sack man, for example, is a variant of the boogeyman folklore, which, in its name suggests, stuffs children in a sack. This sack man predominantly exists in Latin American cultures, such as Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Paraguay, Brazil, as well as Latin Europe, Spain, Portugal, things of that sort. It's sometimes referred to as El Hombre del Costal, or in Portuguese, all of these names either meaning the sack man or the bag man. Other Spanish language variants is El Robachicos, meaning child stealer. Similar legends are present in Eastern Europe, and as well as Haiti and other countries in Asia. El Cucuy, also El Bolo, is another version of the boogeyman, common to many Spanish-speaking countries. In Spain, parents sing lullabies and tell rhymes of children, warning them that if they don't go to sleep, El Cucuy will come for them. The rhyme originated in the 17th century, and while it has evolved over the years, it has retained its original meaning to this day. Coconuts, Spanish for coco, received their name because of the hairy brown, quote, face created by the coconut shell. 3 indentations also remind the Portuguese sailors of El Coco. Variations of El Cucuy are El Cuco and El Coco. Latin America also has El Coco, although its folklore is different, commonly mixed with native beliefs, and because cultural contacts, sometimes they seem more closely related to the U.S. version of the boogeyman. However, the term El Coco is often used in Spanish-speaking Latin American countries like Bolivia, Colombia, Peru, Guatemala, even Mexico, El Salvador, and Honduras. And the term El Cucuy is popular in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Chile, Uruguay, and Panama. Among Mexican Americans, El Cucuy is portrayed as an evil monster that hides under children's beds at night and kidnaps or eats them if they don't obey his or her parents by going to sleep when it's time to do so. However, the Spanish-American boogeyman does not resemble the shapeless or hairy monster of Spain. Social sciences professor Manuel Medrano says popular legend describes El Cucuy as a small humanoid with glowing red eyes that hides in closets or under beds. His quote says, "Some lore has him as a kid who was a victim of violence, and now he's alive, but he's not." Medrano, citing Xavier Garza's book from 2004, Creepy Creatures and Other Cucuys. In Brazilian folklore, a similar creature called cuca is depicted as a female humanoid alligator or an old lady with a sack. There's a lullaby sung by many parents to their children that says the cuca will come to get them and make a soup or soap out of them if they don't go to sleep, just as in Spain. The cuca is also a character in Monteiro Lobato's Yellow Woodpecker's Farm. It's a series of short novels written for children, which contain a large number of characters from Brazilian folklore. Another main one in countries of Central and Eastern Mediterranean, children who misbehave are threatened by a creature known as the babbo, or bobo. In Italy, the babbo is also called Little Black Man, or Il Mio Nero. In Italy, he is portrayed as a tall man wearing a heavy black coat with a black hood or hat which hides his face. Sometimes parents will knock loudly under the table, pretending that someone is knocking at the door, and say something like, "Here comes the black man. He must know that there's a child here who doesn't want to drink his soup." It's also featured in widespread nursery rhymes in Italy. Nina, Nina, Nina o, questo bimbo, a chi la do. After this quick message, we'll be right back. Hello there, listeners. Whether you're new or you've been with me from the start, a great way to catch up and dive deeper into the world of mythical true crime is to check out my earlier shows. I've covered everything from Bigfoot to aliens and ghosts. Take a moment and browse through the past episodes, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means everything to me. In English, translating, because I unfortunately cannot translate the rest or speak the rest, is lullaby, lulla-o. Who do I give this child to? I will give him to the boogeyman, who's going to keep him for the whole year. L'uomo nero is not supposed to eat children or even harm them in any way, but instead just takes them away to a mysterious and frightening place. The last main one we'll talk about from German folklore has dozens of different figures that correspond with the boogeyman. Various appearances such as a gnome, man, I believe an animal, monster, ghost, or devil. It's the Boogeyman. They're sometimes said to appear at specific places such as forests, bodies of water, cliffs, cornfields, you name it, vineyards. These figures are often called by the different names, which is often known regionally. One of these emitology related to the boogeyman, again, is the Boogeyman, which is a gnome-like creature and other demonic or ghostly appearances. Other examples include the Boogeyman or the Der Schwartzman, which is the black man, an inhuman creature which hides in dark corners and under the bed and in the closet and, of course, carries children away. The figure is part of a children's game, Who's Afraid of the Boogeyman? There are many alternate examples, such as the Mardial in Afghanistan, the Buba in Albania, even Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia have a variation known as Baba Yaga, which is a South Slavic variant. Baba meaning hag or rog, and rog meaning horn, thus literally mean a horned hag. It's commonly attributed to characteristics of the boogeyman. The details vary regionally by household to household due to oral tradition, but always manifests as a menacing hag who hunts irreverent children. It's also described as fond of trapping and eating caught children. In the United States, the boogeyman, which is also known as the boogerman or the booger monster in rural areas of the American South, booger being an American English equivalent to the English word bogey, was most often used to keep children, young and old, from playing outside past dark or wandering off into the forest alone. During the green corn ceremony, young Cherokee boys wearing caricature masks would often make fun of politicians and frighten children into being good, and shake their masks at young women and chase them around. The green corn ceremony is an annual ceremony practiced among various Native American groups associated with the beginning of the yearly corn harvest. Male participants in the booger dance were also referred to as booger men, and in some Midwestern states, the boogeyman scratches the window. Pacific Northwest, he may manifest as a green fog. And in other places, he hides and appears from underneath beds and in closets and tickles children when they go to sleep at night, while in others, he's a tall figure with a black hooded cloak who puts children in a sack. It is said that a wart can be transmitted to someone by the boogeyman. Now, other references to the boogeyman in the United States are obviously the famous Jersey Devil, which originated in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. In South Jersey and Philadelphia area, the Jersey Devil is also known as the Leeds Devil. Now, the origins of this myth of the Jersey Devil or Leeds Devil date variously and are attached to various places named such as the Pines, Pine Barrens, and Leeds Point. The devil's mother is sometimes called the woman named Leeds or Mother Leeds in Burlington, but other names also, such as the Shords, have been forwarded. According to one such piece in 1735, a woman named Leeds was giving birth to her 13th child and exclaimed, quote, "Let the child be the devil." The child, then born, though born normally, immediately grew wings, tail, and claws, and flew out into the Pine Barrens. Now, according to some of the children transformed into a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and I believe a forked tail. Growling and screaming, the child beat everyone with its tail before flying up the chimney and heading out into the pines. In some versions of the tale, Mother Leeds was supposedly a witch, and the child's father was the devil himself, as well as other versions that the legend states a local clergyman subsequently attempted to exorcise the creature from the Pine Barrens. Now, the Leeds family did exist, and prior to the early 1900s, the Jersey Devil was referred to as the Leeds Devil, or the Devil of Leeds. Mother Leeds was identified by some of real-life Deborah Leeds on the grounds of Deborah Leeds' husband, Japhet Leeds, named 12 children in his will that he wrote during 1736, in which is compatible with the legend. Deborah and Japhet Leeds also lived in the Leeds Point section, which is now known as Atlantic County, New Jersey, which is also commonly the location of the Jersey Devil stories. Brian Regal, a historian of science at Keene University, theorizes that the story of Mother Leeds, rather than being based on a single historical person alone, originated as a reputation from the local prominent Leeds family in the southern portion of the colonial area, province, New Jersey. There, religious political disputes became the subject of folklore and gossip among the local population. Regal contends that folklores concerning these historical disputes evolved through the years and ultimately resulted in the modern-day popular legend of the Jersey Devil that we all know during the early 20th century. Regal contends that the colonial era political intrigue involved early New Jersey politicians, that being Benjamin Franklin and Franklin's rival, almanac publisher Daniel Leeds. He lived from 1651 to 1720. That resulted in the Leeds family being described as monsters, and in which Daniel Leeds' negative description as the Leeds Devil, rather than the actual creature that created later the legend of the Jersey Devil. I hope it was not too confusing. Much like the mother Leeds of the Jersey Devil myth, Daniel Leeds' third wife did have given birth to 9 children, a large number of children even for the time. Now, Leeds' second wife and first daughter both died during childbirth, and Leeds and his family were prominent in South Jersey and the Pine Barrens area. As the royal surveyor and strong allegiance to the British crown, Leeds had surveyed and acquired the land in Egg Harbor area located within the Pine Barrens. The land was inherited by Leeds' son and family and is now known as Leeds Point, one of the areas in the Pine Barrens currently associated with the Jersey Devil legend and the alleged Jersey Devil sightings. Starting in the 17th century, English Quakers established settlements in South Jersey, the region in which the Pine Barrens are located. Daniel Leeds, a Quaker also, and a prominent person of pre-Revolution colonial southern New Jersey, became ostracized by his Quaker congregation just that after 1687 publication of almanacs containing astrological symbols and writings. Leeds' fellow Quakers deemed the astrology of the almanacs too pagan or blasphemous to their church, and the almanacs were censored and burned by the local Quaker community. Now, in response to, and in spite of this censorship, Leeds continued to publish even more esoteric astrological Christian writings, and became increasingly fascinated with Christian occultism, Christian mysticism, cosmology, demonology, angelology, and natural magic. In the 1690s, after his almanacs and writings were further censored as blasphemous or heretical by the Philadelphia Quaker meeting, Leeds continued to dispute with the Quaker community, even going as far as converting to Angelicism and publishing anti-Quaker tracts, criticizing Quaker theology and accusing those Quakers of being anti-monarchists. In the ensuing dispute between Leeds and the southern New Jersey Quakers over Leeds accusations, Leeds was endorsed by the much-aligned British Royal Governor of New Jersey, Lord Cornbury, despised among the Quaker communities. Leeds also worked as a counselor to Lord Cornbury about this time. Considering Leeds as a traitor for aiding the crown and rejecting Quaker beliefs, the Quaker Burlington meeting of southern New Jersey subsequently dismissed Leeds as evil in their books. In 1700, the local South Jersey Quaker community retaliated against Leeds' anti-Quaker tracts with a tract of their own, titled Satan's Harbinger Encountered, being something by way of answer to Daniel Leeds, which publicly accused Leeds of working with the devil himself. During the early 1700s, Daniel Leeds' son Titan Leeds inherited his father's almanac business and continued to use astrological content and eventually competed with Benjamin Franklin's popular Poor Richard's Almanac. During 1728, Titan began to include the Leeds family crest on the masthead of his almanacs. The Leeds family crest depicts a wyvern, a batted-winged dragon-like creature that stands upright with 2 clawed feet. Regal notes that the wyvern on the Leeds family crest is reminiscent to that of popular descriptions of the Jersey Devil. The fearsome appearance on the crest wyvern and increasing animosity among the local South Jersey residents towards royalty, aristocracy, and nobility, for whom family crests were associated with, may have helped facilitate the popular legend of the Leeds Devil and association with the Leeds family being devils and monsters. There's also been many reported sightings of the Jersey Devil. According to legend, While visiting the Hanover Mill Works to inspect his cannonballs being forged, Commodore Stephen Decanter sighted a flying creature and fired a cannonball directly at it with no effect. Joseph Bonaparte, elder brother to Napoleon, had also claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting in his Bordertown estate in 1820. Even during 1840, the Jersey Devil was blamed for several livestock killings. Similar attacks were reported in 1841, accompanied by tracks and screams. Now, there was a week in January, January 16th through the 23rd, 1909, in which newspapers published hundreds of stories claiming encounters of the Jersey Devil from all over South Jersey and the Philadelphia area. Among these alleged encounters were claims that the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden. The police in Camden and Bristol, Pennsylvania, supposedly fired upon the creature, which had no effect. Other reports initially concerned unidentified footprints in the snow, but soon sightings of creatures resembling the Jersey Devil had been reported throughout South Jersey and as far away as Delaware and western Maryland. The widespread newspaper coverage created fear among those in the Delaware Valley, prompting a number of schools to close and workers to stay home. Vigilante groups and groups of hunters roamed the pines and countrysides in search of this devil. And during this period, it was rumored that the Philadelphia Zoo posted a $10,000 reward for the creature. The offer prompted a variety of hoaxes, including that of a kangaroo equipped with artificial claws and bat wings. Now, skeptics believe that the Jersey Devil is nothing more than a creative manifestation upon the imaginations of early English settlers in South Jersey, with plausible natural explanations, including that which I spoke of earlier in the episode, the Boogeyman stories created and told by Pine Barren residents as a form of children's entertainment. Now, the cultural relevance of the Jersey Devil is unmatched. The Man in the Beast in American comic legend, folklorist author Richard Dorson outlines 6 criteria for establishing a distinction among legendary creatures in American folklore. While the Jersey Devil is not expressly cited by Dorson, it nevertheless qualifies as the same level of relevance. Dorson specifies that a qualifier must exist, such as must exist in oral tradition. It has to inspire belief and conviction. It has to become personalized and institutionalized, be fanciful or mythical, and contain a comical side, which endears to the American public. Well, we know that the oral tradition of the Jersey Devil well predates printed newspaper accounts, and the belief of its existence in many continues. The latter is made evident not only by commentators who elaborate that the possibility of it existing, but it also investigative programs such as Mother Leeds 13th Child, In Search of Monsters Lore, and Monsters and Mysteries of America are such investigative programs. As a fixture in organizations, it's namesake of 2 professional ice hockey teams. At first, the Jersey Devils, the Eastern Hockey League, played from 1964 until the league folded in 1973. The second is the New Jersey Devils of the National Hockey League, which had played since 1982. The current team was formerly known as the Colorado Rockies, and their name was chosen by a poll shortly after the team relocated to New Jersey. This same trend towards cultural incorporation is further exemplified by the Jersey Devil's appropriation in toy lines, such as the inclusion of a vinyl figure in Cryptozoic Entertainment's Cryptkins blind boxes, as well as the application to a motif in Six Flags Parks for their Jersey Devil coaster. Moreover, the Jersey Devil's fanciful or mythical nature is explored in, you name it, numerous works of fantasy, such as the X-Files, there's board games, Wolf Among Us, the Ninja Turtles even have a variation of the Jersey Devil, Ghostbusters, Supernatural, many different variations. And that concludes another captivating episode, delving into the world of mythical true crime. I appreciate you joining me tonight as we listen to the facts from these true crime tales. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll uncover even more mysteries. Until then, thank you for listening to tonight's episode. Good night.